You're listening to the OMG Hour.
Welcome, everybody. It is episode number 379 of the OMG Hour. I am your host, Sean Evans, otherwise known as Zion Tane.
And I am Tico, Mr. Second Place here.
Do you realize,
again.
I realize, Tico, lately that
Yes.
every week I say I am Sean Evans, but you say I'm Tico. It's interesting that,
So,
like,
it's
you
like
don't,
share
I don't think you've
or,
ever
you know-
actually said your last name.
no, because I don't need to. How many Ticos are out there that you need to differentiate?
No, I
I know of at least one other Sean Evans that does a YouTube show.
Yeah, oh, I know.
So-
Exactly. Yeah, the hot ones.
The Hot Wing guy. Yeah. So I don't need to say that. It's not like people are going, oh, is that Tico from the OMG or a Tico from like something else? No,
Right.
It's just me. I'm
No,
an
it's just-
entity.
I think I realized that this week as we've been doing so many like kicking
Yep.
table episodes, I realized, I don't think Tico has always just introduced himself as Tico, whereas I'm always Sean Evans. It's just, I don't know. I don't think I've ever kind of put it together.
Yeah, it's a brand. That's
yeah,
what I'm going for. I'm going for the Tico
It's
brand.
the Tico brand. I see.
Yeah, and you
Excellent.
don't need to mix that up with anything else. Just Tico, and everybody will know exactly who you're talking about.
That's exactly. Unless they call you Tycho.
You know, if you walk up to a group of people they say Tico, and they are all universally going to say who, but it's not because you didn't say my last name.
Listen, actually, there is some truth to what you're saying. Because if you go to anyone who worked at EB Games and they say, "Do you know Tico?" they know exactly who we're talking about.
Exactly.
Everyone at
So-
EB Games knows Tico.
Yeah, it's not like you have to. You know, it's not like. Do you mean Tico Smith? No, that doesn't need to happen.
No,
because,
not Tico Smith. Tico Bra.
You know, 10 years from now, when we are internet famous and everybody's naming their kids Tico because it's the next hot name, then we'll need to have something else. But for now,
Until then,
I think we can.
we just
Until then, we can get by with just Tico.
sounds good. Well, before we get on to the gaming news, because we actually didn't play any games this week. I played Ghosts of Tsushima. That's all
Yeah.
I've been playing because that's all that's really worthy of playing right now.
We have had a busy week. Same thing. I played Ghost of Tsushima. I played a little bit NBA 2K as we gear up for the next one, but we have been fairly busy. We are in demand, as they say, with one of our new segments. That
Yeah,
we've
so
done.
we've got 3 new amazing episodes of Kicking Tables on our channel. So if you don't visit our YouTube channel, if you're one of our podcast listeners, go check us out. YouTube.com/OMGNexus. We've got some great new shows we're starting. Kicking Tables has really been taking a lot of our time. 3 new episodes this week, and it's all talking with developers of tabletop games. So if you love tabletop as much as we do, don't miss these interviews. They're short. They're like 20 minutes or less.
Yeah.
A couple have gone a little longer because they can talk, which is just fine. But it's
Which is
just,
great.
you know what? I have always loved interviewing. I know we spoke about it last week, but yeah, so this week we've got Lizard Wizard, Mission to Planet Hex 2.0, and Immune are all on there. And these are definitely games worth looking into. Go check them out. The videos are there now. And check out our other stuff. Flipping Tables is our board game review show. And yeah, so we're having a lot of fun doing this. So, there's more content on the YouTube channel than there is just over this podcast. So if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, go click that little subscribe button. We would love you to join us there and interact and leave us comments, and let's fire up this channel a little bit more, shall we?
Yeah, we're having fun with it. You should join.
Come and join us. It is fun. In the news this week, so cloud gaming, we know, is going to be a thing. xCloud was
Yes.
in beta, and I tried xCloud on my phone late last year when it first started. I actually streamed it while I was in my hotel room down in Indiana, and it worked great. It worked actually really great. And that was just a beta, so obviously in real, it's going to be a lot better, I think. Obviously, there's Stadia as well, which is going to, I don't know if it has yet or if it's going to be coming to the phone. It will also be streamable on your phone or any device you have. But
well, not any device.
Here's the thing, Chico. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Here we thought it's going to be on any device. xCloud, Stadia, play where you want. But no, Apple has brought down the ban hammer, and they have said that cloud gaming services violate their App Store guidelines. And I can tell you, there's a huge explanation in this article that we read, and they explain why it violates. It's about guaranteed of service. It's about, making sure it's a curated environment that they control. No, you know what? I don't care what you say about it. It's all about the fact that they're not making money on the game purchases. That's what it is. That's the only thing it comes down to.
It's a loophole. They have found a loophole to block this from happening. So those who are on the Apple ecosystem are not going to get to take advantage of this really cool feature from both Stadia and Microsoft. And I'm sure at some point Sony will probably join in with something like that. Right. And Apple will tell them, hey, no to you as well.
Right.
Because they have not figured out a way to monetize that for themselves.
Exactly.
That is,
I mean, I don't care what they say is the reason, whether it's user, like they want to put it under the user experience umbrella. But I'm sorry, it is all about money. It is all about the fact that they can't make money on the purchases of Stadia games or xCloud games.
This works on the iOS. Microsoft was testing xCloud on iOS.
Oh yeah, it absolutely works.
It was part of their beta program, which they have now since stopped doing. And so on September 15th, when Game Pass and xCloud collide, those of us with the Android devices are going to have, a fun experience. And Apple, I mean, who knows? I mean, the public pressure may push them to change their tune at some point.
I don't know. I don't know, honestly, if Apple is ever has caved to customer pressure. I think they
don't
just
see it happening.
No, they do. Apple does Apple, period. And I don't think they care. See, here's what I've always described Apple versus Android, and I use Samsung. Here's how I describe the difference between iOS and Android. iOS is, here's your phone and this is how you're going to use it. Whereas Android is like, this is your phone, how do you want to use it? There's a huge difference between those two. Right? And
absolutely.
So anyway, that's I used to use iOS. I used it for one phone. I had one iOS phone after I left. I didn't leave BlackBerry. I was told to leave BlackBerry. But after I switched off of BlackBerry, I bought an iOS device and I used it for 3 years. It did what it did, but at the same time, my daughters had Samsung phones, and I was like, man, these are there's so much more freedom in the phone itself, like how you want to use the phone, like the widgets and the putting things putting icons anywhere on the screen you want type thing. iOS doesn't allow you to move things around, right?
Yeah.
And I found
you can shift some stuff, but yeah.
But it always, you can shift the order, but not the placement. Right? It always just goes in a grid. And if you move something down, everything shifts up. Whereas on Android, you can take that icon and move it down here, and it will stay down there. And it was just more, I felt Android was more customizable, a little bit more freedom for the user. iOS has never given the user freedom.
Yeah, the reason I switched, I was an iPhone user for the longest time, and it was the planned obsolescence is the main reason my battery, went on my phone from, a reasonable, lasting reasonable, to, because they upgraded firmware and all of that's fun stuff, and I would get about 45 minutes out of my phone if it was not plugged in.
Oh yeah, my iOS, my iPhone 6 Plus was the same. After 3 years, it was unbelievably slow and like like just to load the simplest of apps, it would take forever to load because of that planned obsolescence. The more you upgrade it, the slower and slower it gets. But I switched over to Samsung 4 years ago, I think, and I haven't looked back. I actually really like the Galaxy phones. All my girls except for Sydney. Sydney has iOS because it's more, her and her friends all have iOS, so it's easier for them to communicate with Messenger, with their iMessage and stuff. But everyone else in the house has Samsung phones, and I enjoy it. I actually really like the Samsung Galaxy phones.
A lot of people are in the iOS, and there's again nothing wrong with that. It just decisions like this make me very glad as an Xbox gamer that I have the phone that is going to work with this.
And on the yesterday, Samsung, was it yesterday or the day before, Samsung and Microsoft, Samsung had a press conference about new phones. I haven't seen it yet, but Microsoft and Samsung have a very tight relationship now, especially when it comes to gaming in Office and stuff like that. They're going to have like this really tight relationship with Samsung. So Samsung phones will work better with Office apps and with Xbox apps. So that's kind of really, like, to me, that's, as a gamer, that's promising to me. As a gamer and a Galaxy phone user, I'm excited to what that partnership is going to be, especially when it comes to xCloud. It's like, well, it's going to be optimized for xCloud. And I'm like, that's really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. Rocksteady today. I think this is breaking news. It's all over the internet.
Yeah.
They have finally announced what it is they're working on. There's been rumors over the years after Arkham games what it's going to be. It's been confirmed. It's a Suicide Squad game. And the rumor now, I think it's going to be confirmed next week or 2 weeks from now, August 22nd.
22nd at the DC, whatever. There's a DC convention online thing.
Yeah, so they're going to talk more about the Suicide Squad game. The rumor is the subtitle is Kill the Justice League. And the image they teased out is a picture of Superman, sort of head back towards the camera, head slightly turned. But on the back of his head is a crosshair that spells Suicide Squad. Yeah. So it sounds like it's basically you take on the role of Suicide Squad trying to take out the Justice League. Okay, I mean, call me intrigued.
I'm excited.
Are you excited?
Like, there's not many. I mean, I'm probably getting excited when I shouldn't be because this is probably 3 years away. But I'm excited. Number one, Rocksteady does fantastic work. Like I've enjoyed every one of the Arkham series of games. The fact that this is a Suicide Squad game instead of a Justice League. Justice League is what everybody thought it was going to be for the longest time. And I was less excited about playing as Superman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman. But I like playing the anti-hero, the underdog guys. And I really like the idea of playing the Suicide Squad in this. I mean, it'll be fun, I think. I think it'll be,
I agree with your statement that they do good work. They do. Their games are well done. But I loved the first Arkham Asylum game.
All right.
The first it was just Arkham Asylum, right?
Arkham Asylum and then
Arkham City.
Arkham City.
Yeah, and then the third
then there was Origins, which was not
wasn't part of the trilogy, and then the final one, which
Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight. Okay.
Yeah.
Arkham. I don't think I played Arkham Knight. I loved Arkham Asylum. Thought it was fantastic. Okay. Arkham City. I found there was too much going on. I felt very, very overwhelmed with what am I supposed to be doing here? Because it felt like there was too much going on. Arkham City is the one with don't they like kill off Poison Ivy like right away or something, or Catwoman, or you think Catwoman's dead or something? Is that the one? Am I thinking of Arkham City?
Might be. You might be thinking of Arkham Knight. Actually,
maybe that's Arkham Knight.
I think Arkham Knight might be the one, because Arkham Knight was the one that did. Although Arkham City did have a number of storylines and sort of detective stories and stuff for you to finish as Batman. Arkham Knight added quite a bit more of that, of the sort of the sub storylines, and that may have been what it was, because I mean there's some that I still haven't finished completely.
Okay, yeah.
And I played that game a ton, but there was just a lot of stuff with a lot of DLC.
And the
and
Riddler,
that could have been it.
I found the Riddler stuff, like the Riddler traps that he would bring you into, and you had to try to get through this basically a big, huge, elaborate trap. I found them extremely frustrating, and I really, really lost interest in the game after several hours of playing, because I just, like I said, I felt overwhelmed. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? I don't know what I should be doing here.
One of the things with that game, and I actually don't mind it, but it was a lot of I'm in the middle of a thing, and there's a trophy or something I have to pick up. There's a collectible, and there was a lot of shiny things dangling all over the place that sort of caused you to lose focus very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, there it is. I see it. I'm going to grab it now because I don't want to have to remember that it was in that, like, back corner of whatever.
Yeah.
So there was that thing. I really did enjoy all three of the Rocksteady games, and I actually enjoyed Origins as well. I kind of wish Origins was backwards compatible so I could actually play my copy, but I don't believe that it is.
Yeah, I never played Origins. So maybe I did play the final one. I'm not sure if it's on my shelf or not. I don't remember. Yeah, anyway, Suicide Squad, I guess we'll see. I assume it's going to be very similar to Batman, in game style, but you're playing as, obviously probably Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, Deadshot. Deadshot? Yes.
Yeah, Deathstroke is who you were thinking that you might be saying wrong, but it is Deadshot.
Yeah, but Deathstroke as well, probably.
Well, he's not part of the Suicide Squad.
But apparently, at the end of Arkham Knight, there was a teaser where
where Amanda Waller was recruiting.
He approaches Amanda and says, "I want to be part of the Suicide Squad."
Right.
That was a bit of a
maybe.
So that was sort of like the teaser years ago for this game.
Yeah.
So Deathstroke is probably going to be in it.
Well, I'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
He had a heavy presence in Origins as well.
Oh, okay. I did not know that, having not played it. Yesterday there was another state of play for Sony, and it was about 50 minutes long. And Tico, honestly, I felt very bored during this 50 minutes. There was really nothing announced that was like, man, that looks so good, I can't wait. There was like maybe 2 titles that...
Yeah, I didn't even know this thing was going on, and I found out afterwards because one of the titles sort of piqued my interest. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And they said it was announced at State of Play. I'm like, oh, there was a State of Play. Okay. Right.
A game called Outlaws and Legends, in which you... I think it's a multiplayer game, sort of 4-on-4.
Yeah. It is, I think, based in the Robin Hood universe, because it is Hood, Outlaw, and Legends.
That's right. That's right. You are, like, I guess you're going to take on Robin Hood and Merry Men versus Sheriff of Nottingham's men, maybe?
Could be.
Or other rivals.
Rival gangs of outlaws.
Yeah. Basically it says right here in the article, compete against another team to steal treasure chests from a corrupt government. So yeah, it is a 4v4 game taking place in Dark Ages Britain, Robin Hood-esque vibe, so it's they're going to have a focus on stealth kills, melee and bow and arrow combat, as well as magic usage. It sounds very cool, but I'm not a 4v4 player.
No, like, I love the look of this. I love the Robin Hood universe as a setting for a game.
Yes.
I don't necessarily know about the 4v4, like the 4v4 heist stuff. It's like a competitive payday sort of thing. Like, I don't know. It seems a little odd, but I did like the look of the trailer. I know it was all cinematics, and but sometimes cinematics will will draw you in, and we'll see how the gameplay actually is. It was announced for PlayStation, but it's been confirmed it is multi-platform.
That's cool. There was okay. So they talked. They had a couple of VR things that excites me. Vader Immortal obviously is coming for VR,
Yeah.
PSVR, and then there was Hitman 3 has VR support for the entire campaign. Tico, Hitman
That
3 in first-person VR mode, the entire
I am
game, not just a section.
interested in that. I
Like,
don't know how
what?
much I like. Like I'm just in my head. I'm picturing like so you sneaking up behind guys
Yes.
in first person with like a garrote and just.
Yes, yes.
And, I mean, like from obviously the shooting and sniper stuff would be ridiculously
Yes.
cool.
I am still
from
waiting
that.
for like a Sniper Elite VR because that would be
This
so amazing.
Yeah, this could be your game. This could be the thing that does it because you're going to have some sniper missions and stuff like that, some
Sure.
shooting missions, and if it's anything like the other Hitman games where you can complete the kill however you want, so
Yes.
maybe you load out with your sniper rifle and hang out like somewhere with your on the top of a building, and
See,
like you have to
yeah.
make your way, you have to walk up the stairs all the way up to the top of the building and then set up for your shot and do everything. That would be really cool.
Yeah. So that I mean those two VR things they talked about. I mean, okay, that's cool. There's going to be an anniversary edition of Braid. Remember Braid from like 10 years ago? I really like Braid.
Remember that. And it's interesting. And again, it will be released for the PS4 and PS5 in early 2021. No indication whether or not that's exclusive or not.
Right.
Because the original Braid was part of one of Microsoft's first Summer of Games
Yes, it was.
events.
I remember that. I loved that game. So good.
Yeah.
And the upgrades they've done, they've literally repainted all the scenes because it was always hand painted. They've actually hand painted them all completely. Like it's not just an up-res. It is a complete remake of all the artwork. And they said something like the original or the new version of the character is 9 pixels to every one of the original. That's how much they've upgraded him.
Just looking at the physical differences, it is noticeable the upgrade.
It's gorgeous. I'll probably play that. That was always a fun game. A very short game, but always fun.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that.
Other than that, I mean, nothing really. Like there was nothing like that really jumped out at me. Like, man, I got to play this game. So a lot of these games, like there's a game called Temtem. It's literally Pokemon. I am watching
Pokemon
the
ripoff.
trailer, and I'm like, how is this possible? This is Pokemon.
Yeah, it looks like Pokemon in a Legend of Zelda-esque cel-shaded sort of world.
Yes, yeah. But there's no ifs, ands, or sore buts about it. This is a Pokemon ripoff. Like, full on. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there was another one called Auto Chess. I'm like, what am I watching? Some of these were like, I don't know what I'm watching. It looks so weird and crazy, and like none of these trailers made me like, wow, that's amazing. I can't wait.
Well, here's what's happening now because we are all online and there is no big conventions or anything like that. Tokyo Game Show, all of these things canceled due to COVID. Everybody's taking all of their content online, and so now they're going and they are basically picking and choosing what's going to get announced and which one is. So like there's going to be another State of Play next month or whatever. Microsoft is having, it sounds like, another show this time as well. And so I think they're picking just, okay, we're going to talk about this here and this here and this here. And they're trying to have one maybe major announcement per thing and a whole bunch of ticky-tack little things that we maybe don't care about so much.
Yeah, I didn't care for the show. The VR stuff pretty much was the highlight for me because I've played Vader Immortal. A friend of mine has Oculus Go, which is the standalone Oculus, and he's got a nice big living room, so it's perfect for VR. It's very cool because you actually because it has cameras on the outside. It actually turns the cameras on so you see the room, and you actually draw the outline of your play area, and it will tell you if it'll bring up a wall if you're close to your play area's limit. So I played probably the first chapter, I think, of Vader Immortal on Oculus Go. Fantastic game. So it's coming to VR. And then playing Hitman 3 in VR, I am so ready for that. But I am more ready. I would love to, like I said, an actual Sniper Elite game in VR, because that's all about, the only way you play that game is from afar. Right? I would love to see that.
Well, no, that's not entirely true.
That's the only way I play that game is from afar.
It's the only way you should play that game.
Yes.
But they do set up some mission stuff where you have close quarters combat. They do it.
Just imagine that in VR. An actual like looking down the scope, and surveying the land, looking down the actual, bringing it up to your eyes, like using the gun peripheral, it's like, that would be so amazing. I would just love that. I would love it.
Well, we'll get them right on that.
But we
will.
Let's talk about something we don't love.
I'm just going to say this. I am very angry with.
How angry are you?
So very angry, Sean.
Very angry?
Like, as much as one gets angry about as much as what I mean, I'm whatever, but I'm not happy with them because they announced.
You cut out, but you are angry with Sony. That's to be clear.
Yeah, well, and Crystal Dynamics.
Okay, and why is that, Chico? Why are you so angry?
Well, because
is it because you're an Xbox player?
It is because I'm an Xbox player, and not just because I'm an Xbox player. I mean, I'm going to say that I would say this even if it was a Sony player, but this is not good for gaming in general. Sony and Crystal Dynamics have announced a Spider-Man exclusivity for the PlayStation version of Avengers.
Yes,
which is coming out, and it's in general, this is just a bad thing. I mean,
what is the exclusivity?
They have the exclusivity to use the character on as a playable character. Spider-Man is only going to be playable on the PlayStation,
right?
Including special missions and stuff like that, story missions and stuff like that are tied directly to that characher,
right?
Which means
I think
if you're
this
playing
is
it on
bogus.
anything else, you don't get it.
This is absolutely bogus. There is no reason. There is, other than the fact that Sony owns the character rights of Spider-Man. I feel like there is no reason that shouldn't come to Xbox.
Yeah. Sony does not own the character rights of Spider-Man on gaming consoles. They have the right to do the Spider-Man game. So a standalone game, they have the rights for that. Right. And they have him in the movies right now.
Right.
But they don't. There's not exclusivity to the character. The character could be used in other stuff, and he has been. We've seen him in
previous Spider-Man games. Were they also on Xbox?
Yes, they have had Spider-Man games on Xbox before.
Well, then why is he exclusive to Sony?
And well, I mean, you've seen Spider-Man show up in other games as well. On the Switch, the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Spider-Man is prominent in that.
Yes, that's right. He's on the cover.
He's on the cover. That was, like less than a year ago that came out. So Sony and Crystal Dynamics have made some sort of a deal with the devil in order to do this. And it really upsets me because, again, Spider-Man is probably one of the most iconic Marvel characters out there. Yes. And to say that, hey, you people with something other than a PlayStation, guess what? You're not going to get this content.
No Spider-Man for you.
Yeah, we've sold out to Sony, and we've allowed them to buy a major. It's not like, let them buy like some, bottom of the roster character. Let them have, Sony gets exclusivity to Squirrel Girl or something like that.
Hey, there we go. Now we're talking.
But Spider-Man, we've seen exclusive stuff in the past in like the Soul Calibur games and stuff like that, where there's back when there was the console wars and everybody was trying to get that, but that was a character from their library,
right?
Like Soul Calibur, I think PlayStation got Darth Vader. or something like that.
Yeah, it was
or,
like
no, they got Kratos. They got Kratos.
Right, but there was one where it was like one system got Spawn, or one system got Darth Vader, and one system got Yoda. I mean,
Right.
there was a whole bunch of those different. You know, the Xbox got different characters than the PlayStation 3 did.
Right.
You know, but they were not
but
story based. They were just
No,
fighters.
they were just fighters, and they were also made available later as well as
Right.
as DLC.
Yes.
Except for like I know
And
Master
maybe
Chief was
this
in
is
one of them.
maybe this is timed exclusive. Maybe.
I hope so. At this point, they should probably leak that information. I know a ton of people have canceled their pre-orders based off of this.
There's a lot of hate.
I myself won't be picking this up for both that reason, plus the the early reviews of it are not coming back super positive.
I was just going to say I am not picking this up, and that is solely on not because of the Spider-Man, because well, I'm a Sony player, so I would have been getting him
You would have
anyway.
gotten him anyways.
Yeah. So, I agree with and understand the hate, right? Yeah. Even though as a PS4 player, I would have him, I just don't agree with it. But I will not be getting the game either, because I've read some early reviews. It's like a lot of the reviewers out there, the big houses, have been able to sit down and actually play the game. And one of them was like, man, this is the biggest thing for me is he described it as an Avengers version of Anthem.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you serious? No.
It's a game that is still broken.
This is not what I want. Like, I don't, and it's mission based. It's like you choose character, you group up with 3 or 4 other people, or 3 people. They can be AI if you want, and you go and you do that mission. I'm like, that's Anthem. And we know how well that did. It's not a good.
Let's give our predictions like we did with Anthem about how long before that is going to be reduced in price, how much, and when. I
will buy that game when it comes down to $20, and that'll be. I don't know. You're the one you're the predictor.
All right, I'm gonna say it will be $29.99 by November 14th.
It's coming out in September.
Yeah.
You're giving it 2 months?
2 months.
Wow.
2 months, and we will see this. Okay, I'm going to say
holiday sale. How about holiday sale?
Well, I think it'll be dropped in price right before the next gen consoles launch. So that's why I'm going with November 14th. Uh-huh. And I'm going to say $39.99 Canadian, $29.99 US.
Oh, and another thing about this game, if I remember correctly, they have announced that this will not have an upgrade for the next gen system. It will play on the next gen, but it will not get an upgrade.
That seems like a big mistake as well.
Right?
Yeah, so then, I'm definitely going by November 14th. It will be down to $39.99 Canadian, $29.99 US. Glenn?
Still too much. Okay. I still, based on what I'm
giving you the first price drop. I think your price point will be a New Year's sale sometime in January. We'll see a $19.99 price point.
We'll wait and see. I am not excited for this after the reviews I've been reading. And then this exclusivity thing going on. They're making bad decisions. It is not the game I expected it to be, and I'm not excited.
Yeah.
You know? I remember when they first announced we're making an Avengers game, everyone was like, woo! And now we're like,
I was super happy. Now I'm more excited about Suicide Squad.
Yeah, which is probably sometime next year, I guess. I'm going to say next year.
Until they announce it, until they announce that Sony's going to get exclusivity to the Joker or something like that.
I mean, the only game to look forward to, I think, this year is Cyberpunk. I think that's all that's left to come out that's like big, right? Am I missing something?
Probably.
Other than Cyberpunk?
Well, we've got Valhalla.
Right. Of course. Psh, how would I forget that?
We got that. Yeah. So we got there's a few coming. There's a few more.
Yeah.
We'll have some stuff.
It's just this year feels very void of good games.
And Watch Dogs is the same month, isn't it?
Is Watch Dogs this year?
I think that's this year. And
October? Is it October? I can't remember now. We just talked about this.
I know. I think it's October for Watch Dogs.
Okay, so the holiday is going to be big. There's going to be Yeah.
Far Cry is next year.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm bitter. I'm bitter that there's another Far Cry coming before a Splinter Cell. I'm bitter. Yes, I'll play it. Of course I'll play it. It's Ubisoft. It's Far Cry. But I'm bitter that there's no Splinter Cell before that.
Well, did we talk? I can't remember if we talked last week about the Splinter Cell TV series.
It's not a game, Tico.
Yes,
I don't care about a cartoon. Yes, we did. I want a game.
But I mean, their stuff has been so good. Did you watch through all of the Transformers stuff on the Netflix?
Not yet.
See, I've watched through it all, and now I'm upset that there's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, I've just watched the third episode, so I'm halfway through now. Listen, I like the show. I'm enjoying it, but there's also something I don't like about it. I don't know. I don't know. It feels like they're really showing the Autobots as like they're on the losing side of the battle, and you feel really bad for them. And like you're just like, man, this can't go well. This is not gonna go well, you know. But I am enjoying. I love the look of it. It's such a beautiful animation style.
I really like that as well.
I also I don't like the fact that their robot forms look like their Earth forms. And yet, but even when they transform, they are very much not an Earth vehicle, but they look too Earth-like, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's you have to shut part of your brain off.
Oh, I know. I'm also disappointed in the fact that they don't actually transform almost at all.
It's just
we have yet to see Bumblebee transform. Not once.
You're a vehicle that can drive really fast, but you choose to lumber away big clunking steps every single time.
Right? At least with the Seekers, they transform into their jets and fly away.
Yeah.
But why do the Autobots not transform into their vehicles and zoom away? Like, I don't get it. I've seen in 3 episodes, I've seen Megatron transform once. I've seen, I haven't seen Ratchet or Wheeljack or anyone transform at all. Bumblebee hasn't transformed at all. I still don't know what Elita 1 is, because she's never transformed. They're Transformers. Come on, let me see their alternate modes.
I think that we're going to see, as we go into seasons 2 and 3, we will end up seeing them arrive, I think. I'm hoping on Earth at some point.
I don't know, because this is the Siege of Cybertron. This is the Cybertron trilogy.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but
no, don't spoil it for me. I know where they're going with the story. I just don't know how they get there yet. But I mean, no, I'm enjoying it. I like it. I'm a huge Transformers fan, but and as a fan, I want to see more transforming. That's the whole point of them.
Wait till the HBO GoBots series that's going to come out it's
the No-Go Bots.
The No-Go Bots. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a resurgence of GoBots and Mask or something like that, because everything's getting remade.
How about G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe. Do a G.I. Joe in this art style.
Oh man, you know what I would love to see a remake of? I'd love to see a modern remake. Do you remember Battle of the Planets? G-Force?
Yeah.
I would love to see a modern remake of G-Force.
Well, we're going to see it because they're running out of individual ideas. Everything's just coming back. So all the stuff we grew up with. There's a new Ninja Turtles series coming from Seth Rogen.
I know.
Like, everything's getting redone. Everything we grew up with is getting redone. So we are going to see G.I. Joe and Mask and all that stuff done.
How's there no live action Battle of the Planets yet? That'd be pretty amazing, actually. Now that with the CGI they've got now, with the Phoenix actually turning into the Flaming Phoenix, that'd be so amazing.
Right, make it happen.
All right. Done. I finished Fear the Walking Dead finally. I am, for the first time since Walking Dead started in when? 2010? Yep. No, 2008. 2009? Yeah. Somewhere around there.
I think it's an 8.
For the first time since 2008, Tico, I am fully caught up on every
All right, so you've finished season 5. You know all of the new characters and everything now.
Yes.
Like, it's all brand new characters. Like, is there anybody left from the original, from the beginning?
3 characters left from the very first season.
Yeah, so
Daniel,
yeah,
Daniel, Victor, and Alicia.
yeah,
The only ones, no, and Luciana is still there. She was from season one
right.
as well.
Yes.
Yep. They're the only ones
So
remaining from, and you know what? I'm good with that. Those are the characters
yeah,
I liked.
and it's funny because
There was only one of those characters I loved that got killed off in season 4, and that's Alicia's brother.
yeah,
Right? That's the only character I was disappointed in dying. But the others, I mean, I loved Victor from the day one. Daniel was amazing from day one. Alicia, obviously, from the 100. You know, she was Lexa from
yeah.
the 100. And Luciana. Like, they're all great characters, and they're all still there, which is great. I'm very, very curious to see where they're going in season 6. Like, it feels like they're really going into whole new territory now with season 6.
With the new bad guy, Max Headroom.
No, he's dead. What are you talking about?
Is he dead? What? He's dead?
Yes.
Oh, this is what happens when I wait so long. You have to watch things
Virginia.
sooner.
Virginia's the new big bad.
Right. Yeah, okay, that's it. Yeah.
Man, you're like
this is the problem. This is the problem. I watched this 4 months ago when it came out. And
a year ago. Dude, that was a year ago.
Yeah, well, I watched it when it came out, so now I have to wait for you. So listen, watch the new ones as they come out.
The episode I just watched aired a year ago. That was the finale.
All right, well then you watch the new ones as they come out, so I don't forget stuff.
Next week.
I've got old man brain now.
It starts next week.
Yes.
So I'm good.
Okay, we'll watch it when it comes out.
I will watch it. Are you watching the Umbrella Academy season 2?
I'm actually it's really fun this season. Have you watched any of it yet?
I have not. Now that I'm done Walking Dead, I am moving on to Umbrella Academy.
Okay. Yeah, it's really fun. The new season. I'll go as spoiler free as I can.
Please.
So the first thing that happens.
Are there people in it?
There's people.
Oh
there's
man!
people in it.
Spoiler alert.
So I know it picks up immediately following season 1.
Yes.
And then also doesn't pick up immediately following season 1 because it involves time travel. Sean.
And that's where it ended.
That's where it ended.
Yeah,
so they're all back.
They
60s.
prevented the apocalypse by leaving the time, and they ended up back in the 60s or something, and that's where it picks up. But but my understanding is they don't all end up in the same time.
Yes, that's true.
Is,
so they all pop into time in the early 60s prior to JFK's assassination in Texas.
But in different points in time, I believe, right? And they all have to catch up to, they essentially have to catch up to each other.
Yeah, like they all drop in and then they're like, whoever drops in 1961 is in 1961 and nobody's there and they don't drop in until 1962. So they're there for a year.
Yeah.
So when they run into each other, they've been living their lives for a year.
Yeah, that's cool.
2 years, 3 years in this time.
Yeah.
And it's really I'm really enjoying what they're doing with it. The 60s vibe is absolutely fantastic.
My understanding it has a much faster pace than season 1. Is that true?
Yeah, because you're not building as to who are these people, and the mystery of what's happening is meant to be a mystery, so they don't have to take time to explain it.
Right. Okay, good.
So
good. The agent from the season 1, he's back in it? The one agent who was hunting them but really didn't want to? The good agent, the one we all loved.
How much spoiling do you want me to talk about here?
Well, he's in the trailers.
Okay.
You don't have to explain it, but you confirm. Yes, he's in it.
Yes, he is in it.
Okay. Well, the actor is in it. Let's put it that way. This is what I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. It may not be the characters, and I don't know yet, but I liked him. I thought he was a great character. So no, I'll be starting that soon. Tomorrow, maybe.
Good. Maybe. Watch, and I'm like halfway through. I think I'm episode 5 or 6, so halfway done.
This week a new Star Trek started. One I was kind of excited for. I mean, not as excited as season 3 of Discovery, which isn't coming till freaking October now. It's like, are you freaking serious? Come on.
Stupid virus.
Star Trek Lower Decks. This is the Rick and Morty style cartoon that takes place in literally the lower decks of a starship. It is a comedy, like very silly. Listen, I didn't not like it, but I also didn't find it overly humorous.
It is very Rick and Morty, not quite as over the top, adult themed
No, it's definitely
as
not.
Rick and Morty is, but it is right along the lines of Rick and Morty, or Final Space is another one on Netflix that is, I feel, has some similarities as well, especially in the animation style. I found it to be fun, but yeah, like I can see what you mean. It's not.
It's not
It feels
funny.
more like a. It feels more like a parody of Star Trek than something actually in the Star Trek universe.
Yeah, you know what? I can kind of agree with that because there's got to be a bit of a disconnect simply because of how I'm going to say stupid it is. And I don't mean stupid as in bad. I just mean it's so silly and
It's
stupid
over the top.
that it's
Yeah.
like this has no place in Star Trek. And yet and yet it takes place in the Star Trek universe. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it does and it doesn't. It is a greatly parodied version of Star Trek.
Yeah.
I was entertained by it, but it did not blow me away by any means.
No. I mean,
But we'll see where it goes.
I'll watch it week to week. I mean, it was entertaining enough to watch. It certainly wasn't terrible. I don't know. I guess I expected something different. I think, if I'm being honest, I'm always being honest on this show. Why do I say that? Anyway,
I don't know. If I could lie to you about something for a second.
let me be untruthful, Tico.
Yes,
No.
that's what you should do. Just tell people when you're going to lie. Otherwise, we'll assume that you're being truthful.
Right? I would love to see an actual Star Trek comedy along the lines of Lower Decks, but live action. Like, make it a Lower Decks style show,
Like
live
the
action,
Orville?
but along the lines of the Orville, where it's like it's serious but has that very humorous edge to it.
Yeah.
You know, I think they've got something there without having to resort to basically a children's cartoon is really what Lower Decks is. And that's what they've made it. They have made it for children. This is a children's Star Trek. But I would love to see that version of it, but in live action where it actually is humorous. It is just these people who kind of don't care what they're doing because no one even knows they exist in the lower levels of the starship. They've given all the grunge duties too, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
I would love to see like an office style, thing of like this sort of thing, like in the Marvel universe or in the Star Wars universe or in the Star Trek universe, where but in any of those universes where it's like that, the office style, it's like, the other guys, like the Death Star had like, had a cafeteria on it, and like, stuff like that, or like just like the people who don't go on the missions, like again, the Lower Decks, the people who get stuck with the grunt work and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Would be fun to watch, like that crew have, and how they deal with stuff. That would be a fun style
so too.
of
it would be fun.
show.
I mean, and it's Star Trek has never done something like that, so it would, if they're trying to expand their shows, they could totally do something like that. The Orville is very much a Star Trek comedy, without being a parody. And without being stupid. Like, it's truly a good comedy because I love how they take the fact that it's more realistic comedy is the way I like to describe Orville, and I can't wait for season 3 of that either. And I say realistic because the humor comes in how people are actually interacting with everybody, with their friends, like we would on a daily basis. You and I joke around all the time. And that's what they show these characters doing, playing pranks on each other, being silly, like actually enjoying what they do for a living. They're almost like they're like us. They're in awe of being on this starship, seeing all these amazing things, and then weird things happen. Well, not every weird thing that happens is going to be serious. Some things are going to be funny.
And things don't happen back to back to back, in real life. Like, you'd have some major incident, and then, you'd have like 3 months of just floating around space waiting for something to happen.
Right.
That's what you want to see filmed for that, is like
That's
3 months in between missions where they're bored to tears.
Right. And they're just...
Or there's like...
Yeah. And fun things happen.
Yeah. It's like, oh, let's send somebody down. Oh, another empty planet.
Hmm.
You know? Like, there's not life forms on every single planet out there. It's like, and another, you know, and you'd have them with like a star chart just crossing it off. Like, nope, nothing there.
Yep. I mean, it's just, I love that kind of humor. I still, you know, I still always think of the pilot episode of Orville. And it's in the trailers for it, which is what sold me on it. It's this alien race has created this beam that ages things quickly, and they show them aging a banana, and the captain says, finally we are saved from the menace of the banana. He turns to them and says, what about salads? Does it work on salads?
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, the whole scene cracks me up, you know, and it's like, this is awesome,
because this is what it is. Like, you know, in like on the show, you never see somebody who's trying to crack the tension with a joke or anything like that in Star Trek. But in the real world, if you're in the office and something like that happens or whatever, somebody would try to make some sort of a comment or joke. There's always that guy who's just trying to, you know, make things, you know, more comfortable.
Yes.
You know? And that's what the Orville has. And I think that would be a fun take to do that in a Star Wars or Star Trek.
Take the idea of the lower decks, but make it live action. A comedy show, like, you know, it doesn't have to be stupid comedy, but it would be fun. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Let's move on from that, because I could talk about Star Trek forever. I really could.
Forever.
Yes, but I'm not going to.
I'm not going to.
So we've been talking about what Disney's going to do with shows like Black Widow, with Mulan. Yep. You know, they were planning to bring them to the theater, but the theater's still really, I mean, they're opening slowly, but not much. Who's going to go? Disney has now they're bringing Mulan direct to video on demand on Disney Plus. And if you're already subscribed to Disney, you can basically buy it for $30 and you will own the movie on your platform as long as you're a subscriber. So it's not a rental. You're not renting to watch it. You're actually buying the film, you know, for $30.
Yeah.
Instead of taking your whole family to the theater to watch it. And that's did they say when? I can't remember when they said it's coming.
September the 4th, I want to say. I don't know why I want to say that, but I'm going to say September the 4th.
Why do you want to say that?
Because it might be right.
Yeah, I'm just perusing through, and I actually don't see a date right now in it. But it's interesting that they're like, Mulan was huge. Mulan was set to rake in like the millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Right. But they're bringing it to video on demand now. They're skipping the theaters. What are your thoughts on this?
They will be releasing it in some theaters that are open as well. So they are not skipping the theater process entirely. The theaters that are open will also have the opportunity to show this. I think that this is a thing. So Disney posted a loss in this quarter for the first time in 20 years. And I think that those numbers coming in, they're going, well, yes. You know, they had to close down their theme parks. They had to close down production on everything. Now they've got movies that are sort of sitting there and they're not making money off of them. Right. They're trying to figure out, how do I make money off of this? So $30, honestly, you know, if I take, you know, Shannon, Leah, and we go out to the theaters to see Mulan, it's going to cost me $75.
Right, exactly.
So
and
$30.
And I'm going to be honest, we all would have gone to see Mulan. Oh, me, my wife, and all 3 girls would have gone to the theater to see Mulan. I mean, the movie looks incredible. I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah. So like stuff like this, you know, the Bill and Ted, which is now moved back. It moved to September 1st. Now it's moved back to August 28th.
No, see, here's the weird thing. Yes, I agree. There was an article that said, oh, it's been moved back. I'm like, that was what the article said originally. We reported on it 3 weeks ago saying August 28th. And then last week, I'm like, it's been moved to September 1st. And then this week, there's an article saying it was, you know, they announced for September 1st and now it's August 28th. They said, no, actually, they did announce August 28th to begin with, and somehow it got moved to September 1st, and now it's back again. It's like, what? Why is there so much confusion over this film?
Yeah. Either way, we're going to see some stuff video on demand now.
Yes.
That would have been theater stuff. I'm very happy about this. I know Tenet is releasing internationally because their theaters have opened back up quite a bit more than the U.S. theaters, so that's going to be doing that. And my guess is they will probably have a video on demand option as well.
What do you think Disney's going to do with Black Widow?
I think they're going to have to do the same thing. I think that the Mulan is going to be the testing ground. They're going to see what kind of money they bring in comparatively to what
that's a good point. Yeah,
they would have been doing. And I think that if they pull in any sort of a reasonable profit from this, they will probably do the same thing. People are not feeling comfortable, and they are releasing in theaters and on this, so they're gonna compare those numbers to see where do people feel more comfortable. Are people going to the theaters still to see this? Yes, yes or no, like that, and that'll, I think, play a huge part. So if you want to see Black Widow, get yourself some Disney Plus and order some Mulan up, and that'll probably help that out. They eventually, this is part of the MCU that will have to move the story along at some point. They're not going to be able to hold it back forever. They will start having to release stuff, and they've got merchandise backed up in warehouses, I'm sure.
It's the first film. It's the first film in Phase 4.
Yeah,
it starts Phase 4.
Like, think about like the warehouses of crappy toys and aprons and hats and T-shirts and everything like that have just been sitting there waiting for these movies to release.
Yeah, right.
Like stuffed Black Widow toys and stuff like that. I've seen pop figures for the new movie already out on shelves.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
it's got to come soon.
The movie not coming out. It's eventually. They have to start pushing it out because otherwise they're going to be log jammed with everything. And like, yeah, I get it. Not everything's complete or anything like that. But eventually, when you're talking about a cinematic universe, you do have to open the floodgates and put that back out there. I don't know when that's going to be for Black Widow, but I think that we're going to see that.
Well, Black Widow right now is scheduled for November. So the question is, will it still hit theaters in November, and will it hit video on demand at the same time? That's really the question.
That's going to be the big thing. Whether or not at this point, I wouldn't hazard to say that the virus is going to be under control enough for theaters to be open at proper capacity. I think that they're going to need to offer video on demand in order to reach most of their customer base.
I think we spoke about it last week or the week before that this is a time of reckoning for theaters. Like, this is a time when most people are going to realize we don't need theaters anymore. Yep. There's no real honest to goodness reason to continue the movie going experience at the theater. And I think maybe this is if they release Mulan and still make millions of dollars on it, Disney's going to quickly realize they don't need the theaters either. Yeah,
and we'll see a similar deal cut with Disney that we saw with Universal.
Yeah,
where they will we'll do something. Disney doesn't have to do anything. They don't really need the theaters at all. They don't need to play nice with anybody. But we'll see what happens with that. I personally would much rather and be much more comfortable watching these movies at home with my family.
I mean, you can order popcorn from Cineplex if you want. Just skip the dishes, bring the Cineplex popcorn home.
Yeah. I mean, if you have that kind of money, you have that kind of money, Sean? If that's the case, I want to raise.
All right. I'll give you, you know what? I'm going to be generous. I'll give you 3 times what you're making now.
Fantastic. Great. I can retire.
Can you?
No.
Man, no. If you can retire, you're making more than I am then.
Yeah, no, I can't retire.
All right. Then we'll continue doing this. And this thing we're going to continue doing is the OMG Hour, and this has been episode number 379. You can follow us on the Twitterverse at the OMG Hour, and we're also on Facebook as OMG Nexus. Give us a look up there. And, of course, I am Ziantane everywhere, and that is XIANTAYNE.
And I am Mr. Second Place at Mr. Second Place on the Twitters. And don't forget to follow our Instagram for Flipping Tables with OMG for all of our latest and greatest board game tabletop stuff.
On the Instagrams. If you're not watching us on YouTube, come on over. We've got lots of new stuff for you to check out, more than just this show. In fact, this show is only 1/6 of what we do every week now. So come and check us out at youtube.com/OMGNexus. Thanks for listening. Thank you for watching. We will be back next week.
Bye, guys.
Close behind the veil. Struggle and cry out for help. Shattered but alive.